So thank you for waiting for technical difficulties with this new webinar. I want to welcome everybody to New Year, New You, and understanding detoxification. So the big question for us all with detoxification is, what can I do? That's a very good question. I always equate it to, you can think of it as kind of like how we need to maintain and take care of our cars. You know, we think of our cars, we need to change the oil in our cars, we need to maintain those cars, and most of us will change our oil in our car between 3,000 and 10,000 miles. But if we equate that to our body, what are we doing for our bodies to take care of our bodies in the same way? We're not really doing that same thing. So we're going to talk about today what we can do to try to change the oil in our bodies the same way that we do in our cars. And there's some reasons why we need to do that. So if we look at this picture here, our kids, even starting very young, our kids are being exposed to different chemicals, different toxins, and even on the playgrounds. Castles made of arsenic treated wood. So arsenic is in treated wood. 98% of the wood sold for outdoor use in the United States is treated with chromated copper arsenic. So in Florida alone, that adds up to nearly 30,000 tons of arsenic. So our kids are being exposed at a very early age to a lot of toxins, the toxins that are not going to be very beneficial for growth and development. So if our arsenic treated wood is toxic for the zoo animals, why do we think that it's okay for ourselves or safe for our kids? And it shouldn't be. So even things that seem as safe as drinking water, there's a lot of chemicals detected in the drinking water. So if you have city water, you should get a report every year that tells what is in your drinking water. So I would encourage each and every one of you to look at that report, because it's pretty staggering and eye-opening of what is in our drinking water. Lead, mercury, pesticides. There's a lot of medicines actually in our water now, from antidepressants to antibiotics. So there's a lot of medicines that are in the water, more and more, because people are flushing their medicines down the toilet and those kind of things. So we're getting a lot of different chemicals within our water supply. So we've all heard about tuna and mercury being in tuna. The FDA prepares warning on tuna. Mercury levels are higher in some types of fish, tuna being one of those, and posing greater health risk. So mercury can be particularly harmful to pregnant women and small children, we know. And new data shows that levels of mercury in white tuna are 3 times as high as in the light tuna. So we've all heard those warnings. So we know that there's issues or problems out there. And we think that eating organic is going to take care of all those problems. And definitely I'm a proponent of eating organic foods. However, what we find is that organic food doesn't always guarantee that it's chemical free. So there has been residue found on 23% of produce in sampling of organic fruits and vegetables that show that there are chemicals on those organic fruits. Now, sales of organic foods have reached $7.8 billion in 2000 alone, a 20% increase from a year earlier, and that has continued to rise over the course of time. So even our organic food is showing residue on it. We also get toxins from environmental. And going back to our children, you know, the blood of every newborn baby today is already contaminated by more than 200 industrial chemicals, pollutants, flame retardants, carcinogens. So by the time that we are born if we're born in the society today, we are being exposed to all kinds of chemicals, even in the womb, that cross the placenta and even are showing up in us as babies. Over 10 million preventable cancer deaths over the last 30 years, been associated with environmental toxins. Now, this is a chart that shows pesticide content of common foods, really listed from highest to lowest.
What'd you say?
So the highest content is shown in strawberries, grapes, bell peppers, and then this is decreasing as we move down. Spinach, cherries, peaches, celery, apricots, green beans. So if you want to know some of the fruits and vegetables that maybe you should consider buying organic, remember, even organic does show some evidence of having some pesticides or some chemicals on those as well. But the highest contents for your average fruits and vegetables are contained in these that we see here.
Like what?
So the question comes, who needs to detoxify? Or do we need detoxification? The new people that have just called in, if you can please hit *7. *7 will mute you so that we don't all hear you. I hear a little bit of background noise there. So *7 will mute you. So who needs to detoxify? So a lot of compounds are show up in the adipose tissue of Americans. There was a study done of 33,000 people in 44 different cities to take a look at different chemical compounds and the frequency that those showed in that population. So we look at the frequency of those compounds in this chart, and it's pretty staggering to see that styrene, a plastic, showing up at 100% frequency of those 33,000 people in those 44 different cities. Pesticides, solvents, perfumes, dioxins, 9 other chemicals, PCBs, all showing at very high percentages. So this is leading to evidence of why we need to detoxify and really who needs to detoxify. So the question of who needs to detoxify, really, it's all of us.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're all exposed to these chemicals on a regular basis. And the fact is, toxins accumulate over time. So if you've never done a detoxification program before, you've never done anything to basically, like we said in the beginning, change the oil in your body, like we change the oil in our car, those toxins are going to accumulate. So we can see in this graph here, in this person, that as toxins are starting off in maybe the 70s even, that we're seeing toxins accumulate over the course of time in this person, and that's exactly how it works. So if this person never did a detoxification program or tried to do anything to rid themselves of toxins, those toxins just keep accumulating over time, and we get more and more being stored in the adipose tissue of our bodies. And they become more and more difficult to dislodge as we keep them there for longer periods of time. So remember, the process of removing these poisons or these toxins is called detoxification. Now, I don't know how many people out there have issues with being tired or have heard of somebody else who's tired if you've never been tired, but most people who think that they have just a sleeping issue or needing some extra sleep, people who are tired or fatigued, a lot of times they're just actually toxic. Their body is becoming more and more toxic, and the body is using more and more energy that is going to be that is not going to be able to be utilized for the things that it's supposed to be. It's trying to deal with those toxins. And so some of the symptoms that we can see beyond just fatigue or being tired of a toxic body, they can range from all kinds of things, from headaches to having yeast infections to gas, acne, fatigue. We talked about constipation, digestive issues, breathing issues, sleeping issues, sinus. We see a lot of sinus issues, even infertility sometimes can be related to toxicity. Pain with arthritis, hyperactivity, dizziness. Cancers can be a problem with toxicity. Poor skin, premature aging, obesity, irritability, depression, asthma, bad breath. So there's a lot of symptoms that I read on here that are very common that people come into our office with, and maybe even are taking some medications for that aren't getting good results, and maybe they could get off those medications if we would just detoxify that body. We would get that body free of those toxins. So let's talk a little bit about the detoxification system itself. So what we want, or what your body wants to do, is really detoxify from every cell and organ, including the skin. The skin is one of the major areas where we can detoxify. Anybody who's ever drank alcohol and sweated the next day afterwards can understand how the skin gets rid of toxins from the body, because that person can smell like alcohol coming from the pores of their skin. So the skin does a good job in trying to get rid of those toxins. But the detoxification system consists mainly of the GI tract and the liver and gallbladder. So the 5 main elimination routes, however, are from the skin through sweat, the colon through defecation, the kidneys through urination, the lungs through breathing. So we get rid of toxins through breathing. So a lot of times we're not taking deep breaths, we're not breathing well, we're not getting rid of toxins well. And females get rid of toxins through menstruation as well. So we want to talk about a couple of these. So really, I want you to think about how healthy is your colon, because one major line of defense is an effective barrier provided by an intact digestive tract. We need to have a healthy colon to be able to detoxify well. So if this is compromised, high amounts of harmful agents may be absorbed. If we have an unhealthy gut, then we are going to absorb more than we're supposed to. Things that we're supposed to be eliminating, we probably will be absorbing. And then our body is going to become more toxic. The health really begins in that digestive tract. The foods we eat must be digested properly. So even if we are eating the best foods, we're eating all organic, we're eating great, if we're not digesting those foods, then we're going to have troubles. Because poor digestion may cause greater problems than not getting the right foods in the first place, because we're not going to get those macro and micronutrients to the cells the way that we need them. So we need to be digesting food the way that we should. So we have to have a healthy digestive tract. We also have to have a healthy liver. And really with detoxification, the liver is the key. So I want you to think of your liver as an oil filter. So we used the car as an analogy in the beginning, that we needed to change the oil in our car. Well, when we change the oil in our car, what do? We also change the oil filter. Now, the liver in our body is basically our oil filter. And the good news is we don't have to change our liver. Our liver does a good job of regenerating its cells and maintaining itself, but we have to take care of it as well. But the liver is that oil filter in our body. The liver is the organ primarily responsible for modifying these toxins that we have in our body so they can be eliminated from the body. Now, this occurs in a 2-step process that's called phase 1 and phase 2 of detoxification. So the liver is responsible for phase 1 and phase 2 of detoxification. So not to get too much into science with everybody or talk too much about the science, the liver really is the detoxification machine. So it takes toxins. If we can see this picture on the screen, it takes the toxins and through phase 1 takes them to an intermediate compound that becomes less toxic, And then we also need phase 2 to get that intermediate compound to a molecule that can be eliminated from the body through urine or bile or feces. So we need both of these phases, phase 1 and phase 2, to be able to eliminate toxins properly from the body. Now, the liver itself does a whole lot of good work, filtering 2 quarts of blood every minute. It's doing a lot of work. So we need to make sure that we're taking care of it. Now, how do we support the liver through phase 1 and phase 2 of detoxification? And that's really through foods. Certain foods are going to feed the liver and feed phase 1 and phase 2 of detoxification. What are those foods? Really, a lot of those foods are the vegetables. So all salads and veggies, including specifically cruciferous vegetables, are very important in phase 1 and phase 2 of detoxification. Broccoli, cabbage, bok choy, arugula, cauliflower, these are very, very important for phase 1 or supporting phase 1 and phase 2 of detoxification. Other foods that are very good for us in phase 1 and phase 2 of detoxification and the health of the liver are fresh and frozen fruits, organic meats, and fish. You need 10 servings of vegetables to equal just 1 serving from 50 years ago. So this may be a shock or a surprise to some of you, but the health of our food today is not as good as it was even just 50 years ago. So it takes more good food today to get the same response in our body as it did just 50 years ago. So that doesn't mean that we want to be eating necessarily more food, or that we have to eat more food, or that we want people to be overweight. That's not what we're saying here. We just want to recognize that we need to get the best quality of foods that we can, because it takes so much more of certain foods to equal the same nutrients as it did 50 years ago. And this shows that pretty significantly, because today we are feeling the effects of this. The U.S. Department of Agriculture reported the following. So compared to 1975, which isn't even 50 years ago, because I was born in 74 and I know that I'm not 50 years old, but compared to just 1975, apples are down in their vitamin A by 41%. Sweet peppers are down by 31% in vitamin C. Watercress, a good source of iron, is down 88%. Broccoli, calcium and vitamin A are down 50%, so by half. Cauliflower, vitamin C is down 45%, B1 by 48%, and B2 by 47%. Collard greens, magnesium is down. Magnesium is such an essential nutrient. Most people are actually deficient in magnesium, and collard greens are down by 88% in magnesium. So the foods we have today are not as healthy as they used to be. Now, there can be many reasons for that, and I think some of those reasons are the pressure and stress on farmers of today, because it's really tough to make a living as a farmer today, and so farmers really have to pick their produce so much earlier now to get it to market, to make money, that we're picking it before it's really ripe or before it should be picked. And so a lot of times we get those nutrients in the last 10 to 20% of the ripening process, or the time it should be picked. So we're losing out on a lot of those nutrients because we're picking things earlier than we should. So what are some of the natural solutions for toxins, things that we need to do to deal with these toxins that are in our body? Well, some of the things that we can do are reducing dairy, or eliminating dairy altogether for that matter. Reducing sugar or eliminating sugar. Processed foods. Really, it says reducing these, but eliminating these 3 things would probably even be best. Supporting healthy digestion. We heard a little bit ago how important digestion is. We need to have a healthy digestive system. We need to support vitamins and minerals, so we need to be making sure that we're getting the proper amounts of vitamins and minerals. And unfortunately, it's very hard or difficult to get that from our food alone today. Most people are going to need to take supplementation. And if that's just the facts of today because of the food that we're eating now. It has less vitamins and less minerals in it. And taking antioxidants. These are things that you can do to help with the toxins that are in your body. Now, we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about the detoxification program in our office. That includes these three products: Super Shake, Lean Greens, and Live Clear. So these three products are doing just what we looked at here in this previous slide. We're supporting healthy digestion. We're supporting getting the proper vitamins and minerals and antioxidants. We're reducing dairy, sugar, and processed foods. So we are doing that if we are following this program utilizing these three products. Super Shake is a hypoallergenic, vegetarian, low carbohydrate meal replacement powder that is suitable for those with food allergies or food sensitivities. So it's a very good product. It is a vegan product for those that are vegan or vegetarian. So it is a very good and wholesome and healthy product for us to be taking. Lean Greens is a combination of over 40 nutrient-rich vegetables and fruits specifically designed to deliver the nutrients missing from our foods today. And we saw that there's a lot of nutrients that are missing from our foods today. Live Clear is a micronutrient blend of liver-supporting nutrients, including milk thistle and choline. So this is something to help support that liver in those phase 1 and phase 2 of detoxification. We need to support those pathways of phase 1 and phase 2 so that we can take toxins from our body and be able to eliminate them out. So talking about some perfect foods. So spirulina is so powerful. Science at NASA consider it the perfect food for astronauts when they travel into space. So if that's not a recommendation, a glowing recommendation of a food, I don't know what is. So in fact, 1 pound of spirulina has the nutritional power of 1,000 pounds of assorted vegetables. That's pretty significant. Barley grass is so well blended, it has the exact blend of amino acids, proteins, enzymes, vitamins, and minerals that you need for optimal health. Its healing powers are so historic that you find it mentioned in the Bible. So these are two products that are included in the Lean Greens product that we saw in this previous slide. Spirulina and barley grass, very important. Now, Lean Greens adds even more. We have fiber, essential fiber. We all need fiber, healing herbs, phytonutrients, probiotics, immune-boosting nutrients, antioxidants, and of course the vitamins and minerals you are not getting from your fruits and vegetables, like we talked about. So what we want to do is use the Lean Greens to sweep toxins right out of our body. Now, how do we do that? Hopefully you remember that by now, and I'm going to reiterate this again, by supporting phase 1 and phase 2 pathways of detoxification. So having a complete food source that also acts as a cleanser and detoxifier is critical. So chlorophyll, which is included in the Lean Greens, connects to harmful toxins in the gut and prevents them from being absorbed. So remember how we talked about when we have an unhealthy gut, that we can be absorbing things that we probably shouldn't be absorbing. So if we're taking something that has chlorophyll in it, it can connect to these harmful toxins in the gut and prevent them from being absorbed. Barley grass contains unique amino acids that create a type of cage. We call that chelate or binding around these deadly toxins and carries them out of the body. So we want to get them out of our body. We don't only want to bind them, but we want to be able to get them out of the body. Now, spirulina also has this chelating or binding or claw-like ability to do that. Spirulina helps to remove free radicals and other chemicals that may cause DNA damage as well. DNA damage that can lead to other problems such as cancers. Spirulina provides the nutrients that support normal cell growth, making sure that our cells are regenerating the way that they should be regenerating. The cells are able to grow the way that they should grow. Remember that we get new cells, our body becomes brand new about every 9 to 12 months. So we get all new cells. We want to make sure that those cells are growing and as healthy as they can be, and spirulina can be a part of that. It can help detoxify the blood and help maintain cellular energy levels. So these nutrients are very, very important. So I know we went over a lot of information today in really a short amount of time, but hopefully it's information that you can grasp and understand of how important detoxification really is to our bodies. That it should be something that we utilize as part of our maintenance care of our bodies. Just like we have maintenance care for our cars, we have maintenance care for all kinds of different things that we possess and own. The most important thing that we possess or own is our bodies, and we need to make sure that we are maintaining our bodies to the best of our ability. Detoxification is part of that. So, do you need to undergo a detoxification program? Well, I don't know. Chances are, if you've never done one, probably so. But one of the best ways to find out is contact us, come into the office, fill out a detoxification questionnaire. It's a series of questions that can help us gauge and determine, do you need to do a detoxification program, and it can tell us the extent of the program that you may need. Now, I really want to thank all of you for being a part of this initial and inaugural webinar that we have. And as part of that, our gift to you, for anyone that mentions this webinar that was on the webinar, you can receive 10% off of your detoxification kit. If you do need a detoxification and you decide to purchase one, you can receive 10% off of your kit by mentioning this webinar. The last thing that I want to say before we wrap up here is that every year we try to do something special in the office called Detoxification with the Docs, or Detox with the Docs. So I think with a program like this, especially if you've never done it before, it's good to have a support group. It's good to have a community of people that are doing this together. So every year, we as an office try to do this together. So if you would like to be a part of that, the doctors and staff in our office, we are starting this program on February 5th, which is the Monday after the Super Bowl. We wanted to wait till after the Super Bowl. That's a little easier for a lot of people, I understand. So we wanted to wait till the day after the Super Bowl. So February 5th, if you want to start this program with us and do the Detox with the Docs, I encourage you, let's get into the office, let's fill out that detoxification questionnaire, let's determine if you need to detoxify, and let's get you your kit and 10% off of that kit. So I want to thank you all for being here. This will be put on our website as a recording, so I want to thank you for being a part of this, and have a great day.